Excellent. Wow. Hello, everybody. Hey,
Hello.
kick-ass women out there. It's Daniel and Catherine here.
Hello. Nice to meet everybody. Some of you might recognize me, but most of you, I'm probably a new face. Nice to meet you.
Great. Over the next 5 days, we are going to guide you through practices that will open up a completely new way of relating to your body and as a means to access your deep body intuitive wisdom. And you're going to find your stress and anxiety levels go down while your confidence and your pleasure in your body and being in your actual body go way up. And you're also going to find you're able to make choices and changes around your health and emotional well-being that probably felt impossible to make just a few days ago. So that's what you have to look forward to. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dan. Yeah.
So take a breath. So everybody,
We should do that too.
we had this technical issue right before we came on, and Catherine had to restart her computer. So take a breath because you're speaking fast, and it's like I could feel it's like
yeah.
yeah, you made it, and it's great to be here with everybody. So yeah, we're going to show you in 5 days some tools and give you a chance to practice every day a new tool so that you can begin to get really helpful, direct, profound information using your body as a tool to help you to make decisions. So welcome.
So yeah, to jump into today's challenge, I want, first of all, to recommend that you have a notebook and a pen handy, because once you get into this, there's going to be thoughts and insights coming to you, and it's important to write those down because they'll come and they'll go, and you'll be able to look back at that and remember, and it'll trigger something also in your body memory that will allow you to accumulate the kind of results that we want you to have a lot better. So today's challenge is all about letting go, and specifically letting go of all the unconscious thoughts and ideas and beliefs and stories, basically, that you tell about yourself and what's possible. So to do that, we're going to walk you through some simple exercises. And at the end, we're going to go more deeply into what, the larger picture of all this, but we want you to be able to access the exercises right away. And so let's just say this is the first step to having a really deep connection with your body's wisdom and intuition.
Because basically there's all these ideas we have that we don't realize we have that are getting in the way. So this is the reason to start, is because we could start teaching you some other tools which are kind of more really kind of getting direct, which we'll start tomorrow. But if we don't deal with this step first, then you're going to kind of running into roadblocks that you don't realize why. And so we're going to start here is sort of letting go of the things that have been getting in the way of doing that.
Absolutely. So we recommend that the first step that you take is to identify a challenge that you are currently experiencing. We recommend that it's a physical challenge, but it doesn't have to be. It could be an emotional challenge, a relationship challenge, a work challenge, an economic challenge. But it's something that you worry about daily, that you or struggle with daily. So, for example, on a physical level, it could be memory lapses or brain fog. It could be weight gain, some hormonal imbalances, or anything like that that is a daily challenge that you are interacting with.
Yeah. And so just this is because of the tools that we're going to be teaching you only makes sense in a specific situation. And that's why we're going to ask you to do that. And you may decide after we've done today that you may want to change it, but we're going to ask that you throughout these 5 days, keep the same challenge, because whatever you learn in respect to that particular challenge, you're going to be learning tools and approaches that you can use on anything else, but stay with one thing, because then you can kind of go deeper rather than kind of choosing, and because all of us have a lot going on in our lives, but for this challenge, just choose one thing that's really kind of an ongoing issue in your life.
Great. And the tools that we'll be teaching you are applicable to any situation, because what we're accessing here is a body-based wisdom. That's why it's good to start with a challenge, but you can use this in relationship to any of your life experiences going forward. So do you think we're ready now to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. So we're going to combine some of the tools that we use together, as we said before. I would like you to start by getting in a very comfortable position. I am going to ask you to close your eyes if you can. It's a great way to access the breath, and we're going to do some breathing exercises right now. The breath is one of my favorite tools because it's constantly with us. When we bring our awareness and consciousness to it, it becomes very powerful as a way of letting go. And today's challenge is all about letting go, as we said. So the beauty of it is that also you can do it anywhere, anytime. Of course, you can do it when you're driving, but then you don't want to close your eyes, just in case that wasn't obvious. So those of you that have done my meditation and motion challenge or have worked with me have probably been introduced to this idea of nasal breathing. I'm going to add another level of skill to that. And I'll walk you through right now as you're sitting comfortably, as you're relaxed, through all of those steps. So first of all is just to take a big, deep inhale. And you want to do that through your nose. Take a big, deep inhale. And then you're going to exhale a big through your mouth. You just let yourself collapse. And then take another deep inhale. Let your whole torso fill up with the breath through the nose. And this time you're going to exhale through the nose. And you just let the breath, you just let it go out. You don't force anything. And you're going to stay with that exhale. You're just going to allow it to go a little bit longer than feels, just a little bit beyond what you would normally do. And then allow the inhale to come just naturally. And then when you're ready to exhale, you just really release. The idea, the focus, the attention that you have right now is all on the release. Inhalation, you don't even have to pay attention to it. It's going to happen naturally. The exhalation, it's all about letting go. And it really doesn't matter what's happening around you. You might be able to hear and from my end, there's traffic, there's a dog barking. It's really beautiful that you can just stay with the breath, and really doesn't matter what's happening around you in terms of distractions or thoughts or feelings, physical sensations. You just keep your attention on the release of the exhalation. During the inhalation, it's almost like you're just taking a little break. You're just allowing it to happen. So you let that inhalation happen, and then you really go with the release of the exhalation. You really allow yourself to just feel the release of that exhalation. What you may find as you do this a few times, while I'm speaking, you can just keep going at your own pace. What you may find as you're doing this is that the pause at the end of the exhalation gets a little bit longer. There's a deeper and deeper relaxation at the end of that pause. So we'll just do a couple more breaths and just really feeling what happens as you allow that exhalation to happen, and you allow this process of, you're not just letting go of the breath, you're letting go of any constriction, any resistance to the moment, to being in the present, any irritation or frustration that's arising for any reason whatsoever. You just allow every exhalation that you're letting go, and you're allowing yourself to sink more deeply into this present moment and just enjoy it. So what's happening physiologically in your body is you're switching tracks. As you breathe in and out through the nose, you're allowing your parasympathetic nervous system, the deep vagus nerve that runs through your central nervous system, you're allowing that to activate. It's a deeply, deeply relaxing part of your nervous system. And so as you allow that to activate, you'll be able to become more fully present and ready for the exercise that Daniel is about to take you on. You're going to use this breath, this exhalation, and this ability to release and let go. You're going to use that and combine it with the exercise that Daniel's going to take you through. So it's very simple exercise. You don't have to focus on the inhalation and exhalation right now while Daniel's taking you through this exercise. He'll give you the second part, and then we'll combine them together.
Okay, great. So I put a comment in the box so that if you guys have questions as we go through this, feel free to type them in, because we'll be answering questions kind of a little bit later. But go ahead and let us know you're here and type in your questions. So since Catherine's already kind of taken us to a place where we're really kind of in our bodies, the thing that we want to start asking ourselves in terms of today's practice of letting go is that the idea that most learning is unlearning. So there are all these things that we have learned about ourselves, about life, about our situation, who we are, who we're not, what life is, what it isn't. And hi guys, welcome. I have my Facebook up. I see it. We've learned so much, mostly unconsciously, about, in essence, what's true, what's not, what's possible, what's not possible, etc., etc. And we're carrying these around, and they're serving as filters through which we're experiencing all of our life. So in this challenge, we're gonna walk you through accessing a deeper level of knowing, accessing things that there are probably ideas that are working in the back of your head that tell you this isn't possible, that tell you that this isn't real, that tell you, let's say you're having a challenge with, I think Catherine mentioned brain fog. Let's say you have a challenge with brain fog, and you have all of these ideas about what it is, what it means, what's causing it, etc. All of these ideas, these conclusions you've already come to, which may or may not be true, it doesn't really matter. But if we don't start to see these things and deal with these things that are already there so that we can clear our perception so we can see anew in this moment, it's almost impossible for anything new to get in. And the reason why you're here in this 5 days is to begin learning some tools and techniques, but also to move forward in that particular thing that Catherine's asked you to choose. So we would like for you to see some movement in the direction you want around that particular thing, which means, and this is what I'm contributing today, is we have to be willing to let go of everything that we think we already know about that situation, about us, etc., etc. So in order to do that, because I am saying, and anybody who's done any work on themselves has seen this for themselves, that there's these things, there are these filters through which we see life that are getting in the way. So in order to start getting beyond it, the first step is to start seeing it, And that's what I'm going to offer today as part of the challenge for today, is to start seeing what's there for you already in that particular situation. So how would you do that? So for today, you would start to look at, let's say, this particular situation, brain fog. Let's say I'm experiencing brain fog, and I'm finding it really challenging to focus, to concentrate, whatever that is for you, whatever that situation is for you, is to start looking at, what do I already know about it? How do I experience the symptoms? What do I think those symptoms mean? How do I feel about it? How am I in relationship to it? What have I tried? What has it worked? What's worked? What's not worked? Why do I think it's worked? There's a whole world just in that one little thing of these, it's not just ideas, but it's ideas, beliefs. It's also things that we have learned that may be true. All of that is to start seeing it and begin to just see it. Because as soon as we start seeing it, then there's the ability to not have to see through it again. So I hope that's clear, Catherine.
Yes, right,
okay?
right. Yeah, and I think we do need some explanation, like just to you have to kind of chew on these ideas a little bit um, before you can jump right in sometimes. And this is such a big part of our daily experience that we're largely unconscious of, I think, most of the time.
Yeah. So this is the thing, is that I think if you're just open to looking, and you could just take a few minutes now and just say, okay, what do I think this is? What do I think? What do I think is going on here? How do I feel about it? Is you just start with the obvious. And if you can set aside even like 5 minutes today to just get and start writing these down and open up to the deeper levels. It's not like and this is a caution here, it's not like you're trying to solve anything. There's nothing to solve here. And it's not to worry about whether or not those things are right or wrong, or whether they're positive or negative. It's like, no, it's just to start getting clear. Because if we're, let's say our doctor told us something about the brain fog, right? It's caused by this, and I need to do this and it'll help. Well, maybe that's actually true, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not that it's wrong. But if we're holding on to those things so tightly that we can't see the other stuff that's going on around it, because we're so focused right here. This is what it is. Da, 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 da. And we do this all the time in our lives. It's like we get this tunnel vision, and it's not that thing that your doctor told you, let's say, is false. It could be totally true, and it could be doing that as the right thing. However, if it's not changing in a significant way the way you want, then there's pieces missing. And so we're looking for the missing pieces. But we need to start seeing the things that we're focused on so intently. And we need to start seeing them so that we can pull back from them. So this exercise is about, okay, what is it I believe about this? What is it I think is possible? What I think is not possible, etc. And just start writing them down. And if you have questions about this, as you do it, type them in and Catherine can tell you how to do that better than I could. But come and explore with us about this, because I tell you, as soon as you start doing this, there's openness that starts to get created. You start realizing that there's, oh my gosh, it's like putting your attention on something that you don't put your attention on because it's just so habitual.
Right.
And then you start to see, oh wow, there's other possibilities here. But until you start looking at the thing and getting clear about it, making it conscious, what's not conscious to you, then the other possibilities can't begin to show themselves.
Fantastic. Is this a good time to give an example, maybe?
So like, I mean, the example I gave about the brain fog, let's say, is like, let's take a different one. So,
well, can I jump in with one?
Please, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Because one of the things that I've in myself and a lot of other people, we have these experiences of memory lapses. And the thing that I find that people will admit to me over and over and over again, and I know this is my personal experience, is you have a memory lapse and it's so embarrassing. So like you have or you feel stupid. Those are two of the things. And so you might put down memory lapse as your major challenge that you're facing every day. So as well as there being some ideas about what that is, well, I'm getting older, that could be a major idea that you have. Well, I'm getting older, so that's just the way it is. Or my parents, had dementia or had problems with this. And so therefore I'm going to have a problem with that. Or it could be, I'm so stupid. It could be a feeling. It's not necessarily even a conscious thought you have, but the feeling you have when you think about this memory lapse issue is you just, in the moment, you're like, I'm stupid. It's a horrible emotional feeling of I've always been stupid. See, that just proves I'm stupid. And so you kind of, or I'm such a fool. I'm so embarrassed right now. I'm always, humiliating myself with this thing. There's just so many different emotions. So that's why it's so important. What Daniel's saying is when you're thinking or feeling into this situation, this challenge, it's good to just write everything down that comes up in association with it. Because then what you can do is in the moment when you're having that experience, you can use that breath I gave you to literally use your body to release it. And so that's just a concrete example in my experience and in the experience of, I'd say 80% of the women that I work with have these issues with memory. So
I think that's great. It's really good because you're really familiar with this world, and it makes something really concrete. But I love what you're saying about, because all these beliefs and opinions about ourselves that are operating like constantly, but until we stop and to look at them, we don't really realize that's what's going on. And I just want to come back to something I said, is like the purpose of the exercise is just to make the unseen seen. So to really avoid that's a very natural pull to want to say that's right, that's wrong, that's good, that's bad. I need to do something with this. Is no, just let it be, let it be. And then what Catherine is saying is then you can use the breath in essence to kind of let that the energy of that, the intensity of it, the energy of it that lives in your body dissipate. But when we go to try to fight it or make it right or wrong, that whole process makes it live. That's a conversation for another time. It continues it. So it's just like, just let's see it. And so much of resolution happens merely in seeing. This is what I've come to kind of see over and over with clients. It blows me away because we're taught that we have to do something about it. And sometimes there are things we need to do about certain things, yes. But most things, it's just like, it's back here running the show, you get it up here, and then you start to be able to make different decisions in response to it.
we have a great comment just about this that we're talking about here from Leanne. She said, my struggle is anxiety. I've mastered it in some areas, but I'm still stuck with feelings of how can I make it go away and fix it, right? And that's just so beautifully said, because that's exactly what we're trying to open up this conversation around. So that, of course, you have a horrible experience like anxiety. Anxiety can be so debilitating. I know I just had experience of anxiety before this call because everything was like, oh my God, my computer's not working and it's 2 minutes to go, right? So the thing is, when you have an experience of something that's very painful or uncomfortable or embarrassing or frightening, the first thing we want to do is we want to make it go away. And that's just a natural response. We want to take you a step further. And instead of jumping to that, okay, I've got to get rid of this, it's like, okay, take a moment, even just a few moments, and use the breath to try and release the fear and panic around that situation and start to allow some space around it. Instead of this immediate impulse to fix it, especially because a lot of times those impulses take us to the wrong place. They take us to maybe emotional eating, because that helps quell the experience. It takes us to other kind of behaviors that maybe aren't very positive, or it leads to frustration because sometimes, you take a medication for that, which I'm definitely not saying you shouldn't, but they don't always work. So then what do, right? You end up between a rock and a hard place. So oftentimes what can happen is, as well as some of the normal things you would go to is, you don't have to say no to any of that. What you do is you take a moment before any of that, and you say, okay, what can I do right now to listen? Why is it that I'm feeling anxious? What is causing this? But to leave that question open, not to immediately see what comes up for you. And again, could be a lot of stories around this. Well, I'm anxious because my life is a mess and there's nothing I can do to change it. So that's really good. I feel I'm anxious because I have this big problem with this situation and I don't know how to deal with it. So instead of dealing with anxiety, then you start to deal with an actual situation or an idea or a thought. And those things can be released with the breath. It's like, okay, yeah, I have this issue, but what I'm going to do right now is use the breath to, this idea that I can't change anything, I'm going to release that through the breath. Or this idea that I have a problem because I'm genetically predisposed to it, I'm just going to release that and let that go with the breath. What's underneath that then? once you release those initial layers of ideas, you'll find other ones that are there behind them. But that's totally fine. This is sort of like an archaeological expedition where everything that you reveal is really a treasure. It may seem like a problem at first, but really it's a treasure because it's going to lead you finally to the root of this situation, and where you can actually start to solve the problem rather than just cover it up or try to suppress it, or just uh, surrender to it and just like, okay, well, I guess this is just the way things are. I have no choices. You'll find you have so many more options. So I hope
Yeah,
that's making sense.
that's
And
that's that's brilliant. That's really good. And so hopefully that's helpful, Leanne. There's so much more to say. And anxiety, there can be all kinds of different things going on, even a number of different things at the same time. But
exactly.
in terms of this challenge, I just want to kind of come back and say a couple things in terms of, so today is all about letting go. So it's about uh, having a way to start seeing the things that are in the way, because we're holding on to them tightly. Most of the time we have no idea we are. So the idea is to start seeing what's going on there in relationship to this particular situation that you've chosen for yourself for this challenge. So let's say if Leanne were to choose anxiety, so then that's the thing she would use. And in the next 4 days, we're going to be giving you tools to kind of take this a step further, which Catherine was starting to get into, is like there's more to go. But as a starting point, to be willing for this challenge is to see what is there about what you've learned about that situation, what you believe about it, about you, etc. Is just start seeing all of that stuff, because all of that has given you the results that you have. And some of it works, some of it doesn't, etc. So there's nothing, we're not saying there's anything wrong with any of that, but there's more to go. So we want to access how do we get to the more to go that's around all of that we already know. That's what we're going to be doing today. So it sounds like, what Leanne's saying is she's found some things that are really working for her, and there's more to go. So the thing that I want to just, or one particular thing I want to pick out on that Catherine said is, one of the ways we can lock something in is to fight it. And that's like Catherine was bringing that out. And so what we're going to invite also as part of today is to just see it as part of the thing that we already know. It shouldn't be there, let's say, might behind what Leanne's saying. I totally get that I don't want this to be here. It's really unpleasant, et cetera, et cetera. But this thing about it shouldn't be there, it's like, it's one of those things that you know. And just to see it, again, for today, nothing wrong with that. We're not saying good, bad, whatever. It's just see it. Because then there's space around it. There's space. So today is about creating space in one sense. So Catherine was giving us a physiological tool to do that. And it's really phenomenal, because a lot of this stuff, a lot of it just lives in our biology at times. So like we make more out of things than necessarily has to be, because we don't know how to let our biochemical processes do what they know how to do, which is to let go of that stuck energy. So this was the beautiful tool Catherine gave. And then I'm offering is just like start seeing these thoughts, these beliefs, these opinions, these attitudes that exist now about you and about the situation and about you with that situation. So great, thanks, Leanne. So keep going, and Leanne, use the Facebook group between sessions too, and let's really go someplace with this, guys. Whatever it is you're dealing with, if you come back and share your comments throughout the day or what you're seeing in the Facebook group, we'll be checking in and we can take things a little bit further, and everybody can learn from what everybody else is seeing and learning.
Fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree. So we could talk for hours about this. So we'll leave you with that. I think if we could, I'll try and just do a quick overview of the steps. Is basically choose your challenge. Choose your challenge. Decide what it is you want to focus on. If over the course of the day you realize you need to switch, that's fine. But once you're at the end of today, you want to be fully, or today you want to pick it and stick with it. Okay. So you choose your challenge. The second thing is practice that breathing, because the breathing is all about this. It's an actual action. It's a release. It's not some thought or some idea. It's an actual physical action you can take that's all about letting go and release. So when you're thinking about the challenge that you're engaging with, or you're actually feeling in it, you're in the midst of it, you can use the breath to start releasing, creating space around it. This is not about fixing, getting rid of, or resolving the issue in the normal ways we think about it. It's about exploring it and discovering the different layers of ideas and limitation we've imposed upon it. So writing down, as Daniel said, really exploring this, writing everything down that comes to you. There's no judgment. There's no editorial here. There's nothing right or wrong. It's all just free for you to explore and be curious about. So those three things. And then the fourth thing is share on Facebook. Really let us know what you're experiencing, because that's where we can really start to see what a universal experience this is, and that we're not just some, personal, failures for having these struggles or challenges.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking about that today. We it's so built into us humans to make ourselves wrong for what is in essence just a completely normal human experience. But that's a whole other topic.
Yes.
So there's something that Maria brought up that I'd like to.
Okay.
Did we finish
Sure.
that in terms of people that to get the nut of what they need to do for today's
Yes,
challenge? I think we
definitely,
did, right?
definitely.
So Maria brought this thing up, and it's good because it was one thing I thought we might run into. So she says, I have so much to want to improve. Not sure how I'm going to pick one. It might take me all week to find one. So what I'm going to suggest, and this is just sort of coming to me now, is that you give yourself 1 minute and write down, literally 1 minute, no more, and write down the things that come to your mind that you would like to dedicate to this next 5 days. And don't worry about missing out, because what you learn today, you're going to be automatically applying to these other things. But it really is important to choose one thing, because then you can go deeper with that rather than scattering across from day to day. So Maria and whoever else has this going on, is write down those things that come to your mind that are things you'd like to focus on, to get movement, get resolution, something you've been dealing with in your life that just is not where you want it to be yet. And then take a look at those. And this is just coming to me now. I'm sort of making this up, but this is the way this is that. And this is a little bit of practice for everybody. We're going to have you use your body. And so it's like take no more than 5. Keep the list of 5, so a minute. And then take a look at each one and just sit with it and feel. Okay, number 1, my headaches, is just sit, take a breath, let it out, and just feel what that feels like. Give it a rating, 1 to 10. How strongly did your body respond to that? Your body just kind of says, or your body in some way is like, yes, that's the one. So it could be just in whatever way you want to measure that. This is your body. It's speaking to you. It is speaking to you. You're just not used to listening to it. So just open up the space that it will speak to you. Do that with each of the things. And whichever one gives you the strongest response, choose that one. And I'm going to invite you to trust it. And then just use that for 5 days, knowing you're not going to lose out on anything else. So.
Excellent advice. Fantastic. So keep posting. Keep posting. Thanks for that, Maria. I really appreciate it. And everyone, just keep posting here. We'll keep coming back and checking. You can also put new posts up. If you have pictures of your journal you want to share or something like that, that's awesome. Anything that you post up there, of course, will help everyone else as well. So I'm really excited to be, for this kickoff for day 1. So yeah.
It's cool. So questions, comments, anything. We'd love to hear from you guys, and that way we can kind of go further, and then we can know exactly what's making sense, what's not making sense, etc. We're here for you for the next 5 days. So let's take that, whatever that is in your life, and really go someplace with it.
All right. Here's to your deepest body wisdom emerging. All right.
Bye for now, everybody. Have a good day.